Welcome to today's talk, where we'll share tips for families with special needs children. My name is Regina DeMeo. I'm a family law attorney in Maryland and DC. I've been practicing for over 20 years. And during that time, unfortunately, I learned that families with special needs children have over an 80% rate of divorce, mainly because of the special attention that's required and the stress that's caused on the family. So today, especially during COVID-19, I thought it'd be great to have someone talk about the challenges that these families have with special needs children. Terry, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
So as a special needs advocate, I'm sure, how have your kid clients been impacted by this COVID-19 and online learning process?
It's challenging. It is challenging. I've had one client who have twin children, a boy and a girl, and the boy is on the spectrum, and he has behavior issues and things like that. He's brilliant, but it only comes out when he's, doing the work. And so it's very challenging. It really is. And then, of course, children don't understand, why is mom and dad now my teacher? Whatever happened to school? Why I'm at home? I'm missing all my friends. And so it's hard to understand.
What are the range of issues that you deal with that your kid clients have?
Folks with autism, developmental disabilities, with just a full range, whether it's some mental issues, learning disabilities, it's across.
And what is your role as a special needs advocate?
I'm there to speak up and advocate for my clients. And so if, I advocate, I advocate for teachers, paras, aides, for adhering to what's in the IEP, what the goals are, what the services are, and things such as that. It's funny, at one of my son's IEP meetings, the team wanted to reduce his services, and my son was with multiple disabilities, and I was, and he had services including PT, speech, OT, and things like that. And I said to him, he had just changed his meds, and I explained this to the staff, and I said, no, I am not willing to make any change at this point. And so I stood my ground, and we got it. And but the lining is that you have to understand what governs the IEP in order to advocate for those services.
And I think people have this misconception that MCPS is going to do everything they can to help your child, when actually that's not always the case. And you really do have to advocate, especially if you want an individual education plan developed for your child.
Exactly. And it is behoven on the parents to understand, and it's very challenging.
Right. So how long have you been assisting families?
Almost 7 years. Almost 7 years. I stood up my business once I got my son with special needs into my number one choice for residential. And he lives just 2 miles from me.
That's fantastic. So do you have any tips for families about how to prepare for the fall?
How to prepare for the fall. That's, is that...
or even get through the summer, right?
Well, what they're saying is, experts are emphasizing that the virus is still around. And so it's, and unfortunately scientists don't have clear answers about, the virus and things like that. And parents are struggling with, kids' needs, and they need to rethink their education. And it's very challenging. But, experts, caution, the continued protection measures will be in place for some time. And young kids don't understand, why do I suddenly need a mask and not seeing, and things such as that.
During normal times, non-COVID, what would a family normally expect to get in terms of frequency of IEP meetings and meetings with the teachers, things like that?
Well, IEP meetings typically occur annually. And if there's something that's going on, if your child is having other symptoms or suddenly, whatever it is, that a family can request an IEP meeting at any time, And so it's they can certainly do that, and they can invite anybody who they want to that IEP meeting,
So what is
including
the benefit? That's what I was going to say. What's the benefit of having someone like you come to that meeting?
the benefits is that I support what the families want and what their goals are, and because I understand the IEP, I understand the process, I understand the verbiage, that I could advocate on their behalf.
Is it also possible for people to contact you just to understand, like as a prep almost, what are the services that they could ask for if they go to the meeting without you?
They could, but if they don't fully understand it, they could be asked a question, and it's like, oops, what is this? And
Right.
so, so that's where it may fall down at that point.
Have the IEP meetings been done online since COVID?
Yes, they have been. They have been. Yes. Um,
In addition to like dealing with the school, you also help families prepare for the transition to adulthood with these special needs children, correct?
Absolutely, and that is critical. That is critical because unless you need to start early enough to get on the wait lists for providers, for day providers are usually but you need to do your homework and look at which are the day providers that are applicable for my child, specifically for my child, and this is the way I want their day to look. And it's not just looking them up online, but it's meeting with them and talking with them and getting an understanding. And at that point, you could say, okay, I'm niching them, they're gone, or I'm putting them on my list for my next round, or something like that. It's critical. It absolutely is, because if you think about it, the child's going to be an adult a whole lot longer than he was a child, and
Right.
so you need to get those things in place.
And for my clients, I've learned that those IEPs don't automatically transfer to college. Those special accommodations, right?
Correct. But the accommodations are different because in school it's all about education. Once you exit school, it's not about education or anything. You're an adult at that point. So, and at that point, it's no longer IEPs. You can have an IP, just an individual plan.
And the benefit is you've lived through this.
And I still am.
Right.
And I still am. Absolutely. And so I sit on a number of committees, not just with families who have children with special needs, but providers from around the county, legislatures. And when I have an issue, I actually engage my elected officials. And they've come in handy quite a lot. But in return, I support them. I go to their events. I go to Developmental Disabilities Day in Annapolis every year, and I meet with my elected officials. And it really is, it's a two-way street. You can't suddenly call somebody that you've never talked with, and you say, hey, listen, I'm looking for this. Can you help me out? So it really is a two-way street.
That's awesome. So if people want to contact you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
My email, which is Terry, there you go. There's my email and there's my phone number. Perfect.
Great.
Absolutely perfect.
And for those of you that want to follow more of the COVID-19 videos that are on YouTube or the blogs that I do, you can follow me on social media as Gen X Smarty. Terry, thank you so much for taking the time today to share these great tips.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Stay safe.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.